Hello everyone and welcome back or welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to be finishing off The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. This is going to be part 2. So obviously if you haven't watched part 1, definitely go and check that out and then come back here obviously or you're going to be confused. I'm filming this video before I upload that one, so I hope that you all enjoyed it, and I definitely am going to be in the comments seeing any criticism or recommendations of how I can do this better. And make sure you stay tuned for the end because we're going to do a recap of the entire book, pros and cons, things that I liked about the book, things that I disliked about the book. I'm also going to be asking which book we should do next. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But before we get into part 2, let's do a little recap just in case. It's been a week, so we might need to refresh our minds. The Dixon Rule is about a beautiful woman named Diana Dixon. She's gorgeous, blonde, captain of her cheer team, works 3 jobs, also likes to dance on the side, also has like a million and one hobbies. She's confident, she's smart, she's sassy, she knows exactly who she is and who she wants to be. That's Miss Diana Dixon. All right, she owns a condo in this building and she ends up getting a new neighbor, a man by the name of Shane Lenley, a 6'1" mixed and dimpled hockey player at her college, Briar University. And she knows of him. They actually have mutual friend groups. They don't really get along that much. I wouldn't say they necessarily hate each other. I think that he just kind of gets under her skin a little bit, and he knows that and he enjoys it, and obviously she's annoyed by him. Paired with the fact that he also has a very big reputation as being a womanizer around the school. You know, they just don't really get along that well. They kind of get on each other's nerves. But they become neighbors, and so they're literally forced to be right next to each other and constantly see each other. And they slowly do become kind of friends, or at least friend adjacent. Anyway, at some point, Diana is dealing with her ex boyfriend who is abusive. And Shane is coming out of a relationship, one that he's been out of for a year, but he still kind of has feelings. Not kind of, he still definitely has feelings for his ex-girlfriend, and he's kind of trying to win her back. And so, because they have mutual interest, they do decide to end up fake dating. So, they go from frenemies to fake dating. Eventually, though, as you can imagine, because they're both young, technically single, people who are attracted to one another, they don't stay fake dating, all right? They end up becoming friends with benefits. Shane actually ends up writing out a whole application to be her friend with benefits and fills it out. If you want to see all of the details of that, which is pretty juicy, definitely go to part 1. They end up becoming friends with benefits. So they go from neighbors, well, they go from frenemies to neighbors to fake dating to friends with benefits. At the end of part 1, Shane and Diana were having one of their little hangouts watching the Flingo Forever, which is the Love Island dupe. And they were, about to get into spicy activities when Diana gets a call from Will, one of Shane's hockey mates and friends, and now Diana's friend. They've become pretty close, asking if he can spend the night at Diana's house again because Beckett, his roommate, was about to have a girl over. And as we know from part 1, Beckett and Will have created a habit of sharing in the bedroom. I mentioned this in the last video, but if you are interested in that plot line, Elle Kennedy, I think she just came out with a book called The Charlie Method, which is based off of that plot line with those characters, obviously. So I haven't read it yet. I do own it. I'll get there eventually. But anyway, so Diana, of course, being the good friend that she is, it's like, of course, you can stay here. Like, it's not a problem. And because Will does have a very obvious kink for threesomes, Diana and Shane end up sitting down and talking about some of their threesomes. And Shane lets Diana know that one of his would definitely be someone watching, like voyeurism, not him watching, but having someone watch them. He's definitely not down to share. Sharing is like a no-go for him, but he's like, I wouldn't mind someone watching. And he's like, are you into that? Like, would you be into that? And Diana's like, I don't know. It would depend on who the voyeur was. I don't know. Anyway, a little bit into the night, Diana is having a hard time going to sleep. Okay, she had plans to be doing something entirely different this night. If you know, you know. And so she sends Shane a good old "you up" text, and the man obviously replies instantly. He's also up thinking about exactly what she's thinking about. Okay, and he comes over to her apartment. He sneaks on in, and they don't even make it to the bedroom. They don't even make it to the bedroom, y'all. Okay, well, they choose not to make it to the bedroom, if I'm being quite honest. All right, that was a conscious decision. Okay, they're making out, they're having a good old time, doing what they're doing. Will is asleep on the couch, and Shane honestly sees an opportunity here. All right, I told you he's interested in having someone watch. He is. At least the opportunity to kind of see how that goes. And so he looks at Diana and he's like, "Say the word and we'll go to your bedroom. All right? Stay or go. What do you want to do? I'll do whatever you say." But, he's kind of giving her the look like, "There's an opportunity here. What do you want to do?" Diana chooses to stay. And so that's how they end up on the kitchen counter making out. Diana's on the kitchen counter. They're making out. At one point, Diana does ask him, like, "What if Will wakes up? Like, what are we going to do then?" To which Shane replies, "Then he can watch you." Okay. Okay, sir. And so just like that, y'all, they start doing it right there on the countertop. All right. Right there on the counter in the kitchen with Will asleep a few feet away on the couch. All the man has to do is wake up and open his eyes, and he will have the view of his life. All right. Everything is going well. Everything's going swimmingly. And then they hear, "So you're really going to do this, huh?" Yes, 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 yes. Will is awake. He's awake and currently watching from his very, very perfect view on the couch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Will is like looking towards Diana for an explanation because honestly, at this point, Will was a little bit new. So Will is not that close with Shane. He's close with Shane, but he's a little bit closer with Diana because, like I said in part one, Will and Diana, ever since confessed his kink to her, they've been hanging out quite a bit. Whenever he needs a place to go to get away from everything, he goes to Diana's house. They like get dinner together. They're like friends. So he's like looking at her like, "Girl, explain yourself. Like, what is happening right now?" And she just kind of confesses, like, she just tells him, like, this is a kink of his. Like, remember we were talking about kinks? Like, this is kind of his thing. Like, he wants to be watched. And Will ask her, he's like, "What about you, D?" He asked her, okay, he said, "What about you, D? Do you want me to stay and watch you get fucked?" I'm so scared to look at you because I feel like you're ashamed of me. Diana does. She does want him to stay. So she tells him just that. She tells him, "Yes, I want you to stay. I'm in this. I'm in this to win this." And I'm sure you can imagine how things go from here, all right? Like I said, Shane doesn't want to share. That's actually one of his turnoffs. But he does tell Will to quote unquote get himself off. Anyway, everyone finishes and they just say goodnight. Like this actually killed me because they're just like, "Oh, good night. Okay, good night. Good night." And everyone just goes, to their respective area. And then that's just the end of that. I'm not going to lie, y'all. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good chapter. Also, for anyone wondering, that all takes place between chapter 35 to 36, in case anyone was wondering, for research. In case you wanted to, research, that's when all that takes place. The thing that sends me though is in the next chapter we've just completely moved on from this. It honestly never gets brought up again, and that honestly, I honestly love that. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know if I can handle any more talk about that. Let's move on. Let's actually. So Diana is on campus when she runs into Lindsay, the ex. Great. And Diana, being far too nice for my liking, offers to help Lindsay find a building that she's looking for. Diana runs into her. She sees that Lindsay is lost because she ends up actually transferring officially over to Briar University. And so Diana's like, "Hey, like, I know where you're going. Like, let me help you." They start talking, and it comes up how different Shane is with Diana versus when he was with Lindsay. How we get there, I don't know, okay? But unprovoked, Lindsay finds herself making a joke, okay, about how it's like when you have a fixer-upper house that you're pouring all of your time and energy into, and then when it's beautifully renovated, you don't even get to live in it. Someone else is reaping the benefits, and it makes you want to dip into your savings and buy the house back. I'm so sorry, but imagine saying that to the person that currently lives in the house. Girl, the house is not for sale. The house is not for sale. Actually, we can go outside and we can handle this like women, to be honest. I don't condone violence. Condone it. But you're pushing it. Imagine someone saying that is so disrespectful. I'm just sitting here thinking about that and I'm like, girl, I don't know what I would do. That is so disrespectful. All credit to Diana because she stood up for herself. Okay, my girl was having none of that. She said, "You're not about to sit here and disrespect me." And she says, "I don't think it's going to be that easy, Lindsay. He does have a girlfriend." Of course, Lindsay tries to play it off as a joke. She's like, "Girl, I know, I was just joking." And Diana's, she's standing on business. Okay, she's like, "No, I don't think you were, actually." In the end, Lindsay tells her with a smirk, "I don't want Shane back, Diana, but if I did, it wouldn't be that hard to get him." And then she just walks away. She drops that line and then she just walks away. I am so, 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 so sorry. Okay, but Diana's better than me. Because you're not about to say something like that, get the last word, mind you, and then walk off like you did that. Like, it's one thing to say something like that and then I get the last word and then I walk off, okay, whatever. But you're not about to say something like that, get the last word, and then walk off like, I put her in her place. Oh, no, 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 no. I would have been right after Lindsay. This would have been my legs, and I would have tapped her on her pretty little shoulder, and I would have said anything. At this point, in Diana's mind, Shane does still want Lindsay back, but I don't care, okay? I would have tapped her on her shoulder anyway, and I would have said anything. I would have been like, "You could try." Or, "Yeah, right. Something, okay? Something." Moving on, all right. On one random weekend, Shane and Diana are hanging out when Shane asks to use Diana's phone to look at the wedding photos from Gigi and Luke's wedding. Gigi being Diana's best friend and Luke being Shane's best friend. They're out golfing with like another friend and he has a realization that he never saw the photos that they took from the wedding. And Diana's like, "I have them in my phone, like they're in an album, like just go look at my phone." So he's looking through her albums trying to find the wedding photos when he come across the screenshots of the text messages with Percy admitting that he hit Diana, as well as the photos of her healing bruises. And it's not hard for him to realize that Diana actually lied to him, that she did not get the bruises from being elbowed in the face by being at the bottom of the pyramid. She actually got the bruises from Percy. Now he holds on to that information because, like I said, they are out golfing with another friend, so it's like three of them. So he just kind of becomes quiet for the rest of the day, and then when they immediately after they drop off the third friend, he turns to her and he flat out asks her, "Did Percy hit you?" Now, Diana, she doesn't want anybody to know. Okay, we know this. So she immediately tries to play it off like, why would you ask me that? Like, what are you talking about? Shane having none of it. He's like, "I don't need any games, Diana. Like, yes or no. That's all I need from you. Did he hit you or did he not hit you? That's all I want to know." At that point, Diana's like, "There's nothing I can do." Like, he knows. He knows, obviously. So she finally tells the truth. She tells him everything about why she wanted to fake date him, about the stalking, the harassment, the actual incident. She literally explained everything from beginning to end for him. Now, Shane immediately asks her, he's like, "Why didn't you say anything?" I mean, he's not shaming her, but he's like, "I don't understand. Like, that you just don't seem like the type of person that would not say something. Like, you seem like the type of person that would say something. So I'm just trying to understand. Why didn't you say anything?" And as we've already established, Diana tells him it's embarrassing. Okay. I know that we talked about this before, and I didn't mention it much because the book didn't actually mention it much, but Diana is struggling. Like, she is having anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and she's feeling like a lost sense of self. She's always been the strong, independent Diana, the one that can take care of herself, and she never lets anyone treat her less than she deserves to be treated. And in her mind, she's like, "How can I go from that to quote unquote being the girl whose boyfriend beats her. Like it that just doesn't make sense to her in her mind. Anyway, she basically breaks down in Shane's lap, literally crawls into his lap in the front seat of his car, and he ends up telling her that she needs to go to the police. And initially she's like, absolutely not, like I don't want anybody to know, I don't want my dad to know. Like I said in part one, her dad literally thinks she's this Wonder Woman, and she's like, he's gonna be so disappointed in me, like I just don't want anybody to know. But of course, Shane says all the right things and makes her feel like the strong person that she actually is. And so in the end, she does decide to go to the police department. At the police department, Diana gives her statement, and Shane ends up calling her dad because he just felt like she needed people, more people than just him. Diana's dad actually finds out from one of his connections. He's actually like a cop. I think they said he was like SWAT or whatever. So he calls one of his contacts or whatever, connections, and they actually find out that Percy has a prior record for doing the exact same thing. Mind you, when he was harassing her after he hit her, he was like, oh, I never done nothing like this before. Like, I only did this because you shoved me when I was grabbing your arm. If you didn't shove me, I would have never done this. I've never done this before. So you're a fucking liar on top of being a shit human being. I'm not surprised. Anyway, later that night when they get home from filing a police report as well as getting a restraining order, the two of them do it. I'm trying to like not be too vulgar, but they do it. And it's very different from any other time that they've ever done it. It's very like sweet and gentle, like super intimate. Super intimate. There's been a very obvious shift between the two of them. At one point he even calls her his girlfriend, which it stands out because every other time that they've used the term boyfriend and girlfriend when they're in private, they always put fake in front of it. So if they're in private, they'll be like, oh, fake boyfriend, fake girlfriend. But this time they're in private and he just calls her his girlfriend without any other terms in front of it. That night, also, Shane does something that he never does. He does something that Diana will never allow him to do, and he spends the night. He spends the night and they cuddle, and Diana finally admits to herself that she likes Shane, maybe even loves Shane, and she wants to be with him. A couple weeks go by and it's finally time for the dance competition, the NUABC, whatever. Don't ask me what that stands for, girl. I don't know. I just have NUABC in here. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's the dance competition that they've been practicing for months and months and months. Of course, the entire hockey team shows up. Yeah, Shane actually had to tell his coach about it because the times were like overlapping, so he had to tell his coach about it to like make sure that he could go. And of course, the entire hockey team found out, so they all showed up and they're loud. They're loud, of course, and being very cutely supportive. Shane and Diana have their pretty matching outfits on and they're locking in for the performance. They're like in backstage giving each other a pep talk, one that's full of like babes and honeys, might I add. Like they're dating at this point. It's honestly ridiculous. But they go out and they do their best. And their performance goes so much better than they thought it was. Like, mind you, they are both amateurs. Yes, Diana really likes to dance and she's really good, but she's never been trained. Like, it's just a hobby. And obviously Shane is not a dancer, okay? But they go out and they kill it. They kill it. There's so much chemistry. They're super connected. Sparks are flying, and everyone in the crowd can feel it. Like when they're done, the entire stadium like goes up in an uproar. Everybody's like, "Wow, like that was so sexy. Like you guys were literally like this." And Shane looks over and he sees Lindsay in the crowd because remember, she's also a dancer and she's at this competition. And she does not look very happy. I would go as far to say that she looks kind of upset. She looks sick. Okay, she looks sick to her stomach. After the competition, Shane has to rush off to the game because they were in the same day, like a couple hours apart. So Shane has to rush off to the game and he doesn't get to hear what they placed. But Diana later tells him that they placed fifth place. which was way higher than they were anticipating because, like I said, they're amateurs. They've never, well, Diana's danced before, but not like professionally. So that was like way higher than they were anticipating. They were super happy about that. Fifth place also came with a $10,000 grand prize. Can somebody tell me, is that like the standard for fifth place at an actual dance competition? If so, I need to start dancing. Fifth place, $10,000. What was first? What was first place? Girl, what? Also, $10,000 grand prize that Shane says he plans to let Diana keep in its entirety because he's rich and he doesn't need it. That's a man right there. That's a man. Anyway, after the game, Shane is waiting for Diana outside of the arena. He actually won his game and they placed higher at their dance competition than they thought they would. So they all decided with all of their friend groups that they were going to go to like a bar or something and like celebrate. You know, it was a good day. So he's waiting for Diana outside of the arena. But it isn't Diana that finds him first. It's Lindsay. A newly single Lindsay. A newly single Lindsay that wants to talk. She wasted no time. Yeah. Initially Shane's like, I don't have time for this. Like I gotta go. I'm meeting my girlfriend. We're about to go celebrate. My friends are waiting for me. Like I don't have time for this. But Lindsay was really demanding and she basically pulls the we've known each other forever, like you can spare a few moments for me, like I'm important to you. She basically guilt trips him into saying yes, and so he's like, fine, whatever, I'll meet you wherever you want to go and we'll talk. Let me just talk to Diana. So Diana walks over and she's kind of apprehensive because she just saw Lindsay and Shane talking, and Shane asked her straight away if she can ride with Gigi instead to the bar that all of their friends were going to meet at because he wants to go meet up and talk to Lindsay. As I said that, I'm like, why couldn't they have just talked really quickly right there? Why did they have to go to an entirely new location just to talk? I don't know. Diana knows exactly what Lindsay is doing. All right, Diana's not stupid. And so she's like, it's now or never. Like, he's gonna go talk to his ex without knowing how I feel, and he might get back together with her because that was his whole goal in the first place for their fake dating. And so she's like, I need to tell him, I need to confess right now. So she literally just says, I don't want you to go. She tells him, this isn't pretend for me anymore, all right? I have feelings for you. She's trying to get back together now that she's single, and I don't want you to go, please. I do not want you to go. I'm asking you not to. My girl is down bad. She's practically begging at this point. And you know what? Do what you gotta do, girl. Shane doesn't really say much, especially with her confession. Like, he literally just is like kind of stressed and he's just kind of standing there and he's like, I need to go. Like, I'm sorry, but I need to go. I need to go. Like, I need to closure or whatever. I need to do this. This is something that I just need to do. Diana gets pretty upset. Her ego's hurt, basically. You know, she just confessed herself, her feelings to Shane, and he didn't respond. Not really. All he said was, I have to go. So in the car on the way to the bar, Diana's really hurt. All right, she's literally in the back seat, holding back tears, trying not to cry. As you can imagine, like I said, she literally just poured her heart out to him, and he, one, didn't say anything about how he felt, and two, instead of staying and talking it out with her, he ran off to meet his ex, who obviously wants him back. So obviously, her friends are like, "Girl, what's wrong?" Like, she's literally in the back seat, eyes full of tears. So they're like, what happened? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? She literally ends up just letting everything go. She lets everything rip. Okay, she tells him about the fake dating because of Percy and Lindsay, their friends with benefit situation, her recent confession, and how he basically ignored it. She tells them everything in that back seat and she starts bawling her eyes out. Okay, my girl is having a bad day. It was a good day, now it's a bad day. After that, she's like, I just want to go home. Like, please just take me home. So they detour from the bar to Diana's apartment. When they get there, though, it's like the exes are literally just popping out of nowhere. We can't get rid of them. When they get there, they drive right by Percy. They drive right by Percy at Diana's apartment. Mind you, she got a restraining order on this man. This man should not be anywhere near her or this building. And yet, here we are. Now, Miss Girl, Diana Girl, She took that name Diana a little too far. Okay? She said Diana, Wonder Woman. She's had it up to here. She's having a bad day. She just confessed her feelings to the man that she loves or likes. They haven't confessed the love yet, but she's like, I just confessed and I basically just got rejected. And now I'm seeing this man. Stop the car. She's like, stop the car. Let me out. I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to ask him why he's here. She's ready to fight. Like, she's ready to duke it out. She's like, let me out of this car. I need to go handle that. Thankfully, she has good friends, and they're like, absolutely not. You are not getting out of this car to go talk to a man who has already put his hands on you. We are going to go call the police. You are not getting out of this car. Meanwhile, on the other side of town at the bar, Shane and Lindsay are having their conversation, and it's going exactly how Diana said it was going to go. She is trying to get back with Shane. For some reason, Shane didn't expect this. Like, he heard Diana when she was telling him this, but for some reason he didn't think that that was what was happening. And so he's kind of blindsided at first. He's like, "What the heck? I what?" And then he gets irritated. And then he gets kind of mad. He's wanted to get back with Lindsay for months. Yo, he's been trying to win her back for months. She's been blowing him off, like not responding to him, not communicating with him. And now that he's like genuinely happy and he's found someone that has made him happy and he's moved on, now she's interested. Like, now you want to be with me when I'm happy and I'm in a good place. He's like, nah, this is not for me. Like, he's mentally checking out. At one point, Lindsay even, because she's trying to like say like, you belong with me vibes. And so she's like, what are you even gonna do with like an airheaded cheerleader anyway? Shane's like, whoa, 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 you slow your roll right there. Nah, my Diana, you better watch your mouth when you're talking about my girl. Ooh! He's so hot. Honestly, in this moment, it's like he had an epiphany and he realizes that their relationship was never as good as he hyped it up to be in his head. I think after they broke up, he just remembered their relation, like he romanticized the relationship and he made it in his head out to be this perfect relationship that they had. But we, as the reader, know that that's not true because there's moments when he's telling Diana about certain things in their relationship where Lindsay wouldn't support his dreams or she wouldn't come to his games, stuff like that. But he was always super supportive of her. And Diana's just kind of like, I don't know about that. Like, that doesn't seem like a supportive girly pop to me. Or even moments when Diana's dancing with Shane's dad at Shane's parents' anniversary party and Shane's dad is just like, I think that you're a lot more suited for my son than Lindsay, and that's all I'll say about that. So we as a reader can get the vibe that the relationship isn't as good as Shane is making it out to be, but he, like I said, romanticized it after they broken up and he kind of forgot about all the bad, which like honestly, same. I do that too, so I can't even. Anyway, y'all, that man does not even let her finish her sentence. All right, he gets up. He's like, I don't got time for this. Like, I gotta go. He literally says, my girlfriend is waiting for me. I gotta go. All right. When Shane gets to her apartment and he sees like all of the police cars and the lights and everything, he immediately knows it has something to do with Diana. He's like, I got it. Like, just his gut, like, it's his gut feeling. Like, his heart drops and he's like, I immediately know that this is about my girl. Side note, when the police get there, they can't really do anything about Percy being there because Percy, being the slimy little weasel that he is, was like directly outside of the limit of how close he could be to Diana's apartment. So like, I don't know if it's like 150 yards or whatever, 150 feet. I don't know. I don't know the difference. But it's 150 whatever. He was like 151. Like he was just slightly outside of that limit, so that way when the police got there they were like, there's nothing that we can really do, like, so sorry. Like I said, Shane gets there, he sees the lights, he's like, like, this has to do with Diana, so he wastes no time. My guy breaks into a sprint straight to her apartment and like gets there in record timing. In her place, Diana's friends are not trying to let him see her. All right, they're like, look, my friend just had a bad day. She just got rejected. Then her ex just showed up in her house again. And now you're trying to come up in here and like they're just trying to be protective of her. They're like, just give her space. Like, you're off the hook. We know everything was a lie. You don't have to keep up this act. we know it was fake. Like, just go about your business. You're good. He's kind of panicked because he doesn't know the extent of anything. He doesn't know if Diana's been hurt. He doesn't know anything. So he's like, just let me see her. Just let me in. And they're like, honestly, I think it's best if you don't. Eventually, he does get in, and the girls keep telling him, like, dude, you're off the hook. Like, you can cut the act. And obviously, again, in a panic, he ends up blurting out, it isn't fake. It's real as fuck. Do you not get that? I love her. I love the theatrics. I really do. Of course, in classic romance fashion, Diana comes from around the corner, having heard everything, and says, so you love me, huh? I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm making this whole thing very cringe, but I swear I was kicking my feet, twirling my hair. Like, I promise I was. I really was. Anyway, he grovels, she forgives, they do it, and now they are officially together for real, for real. Two of them have a brief little moment of blissful peace. They're officially dating and they're spending holidays with each other's family, just being super cute, being a couple, all that good stuff. However, again, in classic romance book fashion, when things are looking a little too good, we need something to bring things back down to earth, all right? We need a roller coaster of emotions. So Shane gets a call from his mother telling him that he needs to come home because his father is in the hospital. We end up finding out after Shane rushes to the hospital that his father has stage 4 pancreatic cancer, a cancer that his parents had already knew about and they were hiding for the past 6 months from the kids. Now, I know that this probably seems really random, but there were little signs here and there that something was going on that I didn't really mention because, in hindsight, when you don't have the information behind it, they seem like random little tidbits. Um, but his dad was losing weight. And there was little moments where Shane would be like, "Oh, dad, like you've been working out, like you're looking really lean." There was like 2 or 3 moments where they brought that up, and I was like, oh, like, okay, that's kind of strange because, in books, they don't just be saying random stuff for no reason. So his dad was losing weight. There was a moment when Shane was at like a hockey practice, and he texts his dad something, and his dad didn't reply. And Shane and his dad are super, super close. Like they talk like friends. And so his dad didn't text him back, and he was like, oh, like that's so strange. Like my dad usually texts me back like he always texts me back. Like there's never a time that he doesn't text me back. Initially, when he said that, I was like, oh my god, the dad's cheating. The dad was not cheating, obviously, but there was that moment. And then there was a couple of moments when Shane and Diana were at Shane's parents' anniversary party that Diana noticed that the mom and the dad were arguing. There was moments when you could tell that the mom had been crying because her eyes were a little red. Just moments where like something was happening and Diana could tell that something was happening, but obviously she doesn't know anything, so she just kind of trying to mind her business. And then there was a moment where Shane's dad like randomly was giving out memorabilia. Like he just randomly was up in the attic, found his old hockey jersey because Shane's dad was signed to the NHL, but he had his first game, he had like a career ending injury and he had to go into like real estate instead. So he got like his old jersey from up in the attic and he gave it to Shane, which is like, I'm gonna sign it and have it framed for you. You can like put it on your wall. And Shane was like, oh, thanks, that's so cool. And they were just having a moment. And looking back on it, it's like, okay, because he knew that he probably didn't have very long left. And outside of that, there were just a lot of like sad, longing looks between his parents, like especially at the anniversary party when people were talking about like, oh, I hope you guys get 20 more years together, and they would look at each other with a very sad look on their face that Diana noticed, but again, she didn't know anything. It's not her place to say anything, so she just went about her business. Oh, I love green tea. Anyway, sorry, I feel like I went on a long tangent, but I didn't want you guys to think that that was super random because there was little hints of it. um Immediately when Shane finds out, he goes into fix it mode. He's like, what can we do? Like, what's treatment, surgery, chemo, like what's the next step? But his mom tells him like, this is the end of the road. There's nothing else that we can do. We've done everything that we can. Like he doesn't have much longer left. Shane's a wreck. He's obviously very sad. He's angry. He's having a hard time. He goes in to see his father, and even though he's very angry, he completely breaks down. Like when I tell you this chapter literally broke me, I was almost in tears reading this chapter. He breaks down, like he's sobbing, literally like laying on his father's chest, sobbing. Shane is so angry and he wants to believe anything but the truth and like have hope. Like he's just trying to be like super hopeful and like optimistic. But deep down, he also knows that there's nothing that he can do, nothing that can be done, and he's broken. His dad is the opposite of that, though. His dad is like trying to give him a reality check. Like, son, I get that you're trying to be positive and optimistic, but there's no more hope to be had. Like, it's done. I'm done. I just need you to to understand that, and I need you to know that you're going to be okay. And he's like being very patient because Shane is very angry and he's crying and he's hurt, and his dad is just very accepting of what's to come. And I have to read you this quote from this chapter because I was reading this and I wanted to cry. It was so, oh my god, it nearly broke me into tears. So this is a little bit of dialogue from the chapter. You can't go because there's simply no alternative. You can't go. I'm gonna have to, kid. But I promise you, you're gonna be just fine. No, I won't. You will. Because you're the strongest man I know. I've loved you from the second you opened your eyes. The nurse handed me your tiny, slimy little body, and you peered up at me with those knowing look on your face. And that day, you became my best friend. And this made me so sad because Shane, throughout the book, calls his dad his best friend multiple times. Like there's even a moment where like Diana kind of clowns him because he's texting his dad and he's like, "Yeah, my dad's my best friend. Like I don't play about my dad." Like just so many moments of him just being like, "I love my dad. My dad's my best friend. My dad, my dad, my dad." And then for his dad to say like, "As soon as I saw you, you were my best friend." Like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. It's so cute. And unfortunately, you guys, Shane's dad passes away 3 days later. They have a funeral for Shane's father, and everyone is there to support them. All of their friends, their family, Lindsay's there. But Shane and his mother are really, really struggling. Like, Shane is pretty much mentally checked out. Like, he's trying to like hold it together and be there for his mom because he's the like the man of the house now, but he is literally just going through the motions, and mentally he's gone. He's somewhere else. A few weeks after the funeral, Shane's little sister ends up staying with Shane because his mother was having a really hard time. She's dealing with the estate, she's dealing with her father's business, she's dealing with the house and like packing up everything. Like she wants to move out of the house because it's like too many memories. So she's just overwhelmed with all the stuff that she has to do. And she's like, "Can you please just take your little sister, like take care of her for a couple weeks so I can finish like packing this all up and sending your father off and then work on healing. Like just can you please do this for me?" And obviously Shane's like, "Absolutely. Like you don't even have to ask me twice." And so just like that, Shane and Diana basically end up becoming parents to her. And honestly, they're kind of drowning. They're trying to juggle school because they still are school. School started, so they have their senior year of college. There's practice because Diana is on the cheer team and Shane is still on the hockey team. There's work in Diana's case because she still has 3 jobs because she still has to pay like tax. I don't know, like property taxes or whatever for her, like her apartment. Like she has to make money. So they're just kind of drowning, they're like trying to switch off between, okay, you're out of class, so you take Marianne, Shane's little sister. Okay, now I'm out of class, so I'll come and I'll meet you at your class and I'll take like they're drowning. Okay, they're drowning. Shane's productive. Like he's going to practice, he's going to class, he's taking care of Marianne, he's being there for Diana. Like he's doing everything that he needs to do, but again, he's mentally checked out. Like he's not giving up, he's not staying in bed crying every day, but inside of his head, he's like, "I'm living my life while my mom is suffering. I'm going to practice working out, being with my girlfriend while my mom is at our home trying to pack up my dad's life in little boxes. Like this does not feel right. Like I should be somewhere else. He just has a feeling of like this, there's things that are more important that I should be doing. And so in the end, he decides that he's going to take a break from school and from hockey for however long, he doesn't know really, and go home to be with his mom and sister and help his mom finish tying things up. He literally does not know how long this is going to be. Like, even his hockey coach is like, okay, are you coming back? And he's like, I don't know. If I'm being honest, I really don't know. As if everyone wasn't already down enough, we had to turn around and kick everyone when they're already on all fours. Diana's in her apartment one night when she hears the neighbor's cat in the hallway. Remember, this is a pattern. The cat gets out all the time, and Diana always gets the cat and gives the cat back to the neighbor. So she opens the door to do just that because it's what she always does. But instead of finding a cat, she comes face to face with Percy. Clarification, the cat was in the hallway. Percy just was also in the hallway. He is standing outside of her door in her apartment. Immediately, Diana's like, absolutely, I think the fuck not. All right, mind you, at this point, Percy no longer lives here. He was only staying for like the duration of the summer. So the summer ended and then he moved out because the people that he was renting from were coming back from like summer vacation. So he has moved out. He has no reason to be in this building at all. But he got in the building because he used to live there. So the like doormen know him, so they just let him up. So yeah, she's like immediately, no, absolutely not. And she tries to slam that door right in his face. She literally opens it, sees him, and tries to slam the door back in his face. But Percy manages to wedge his foot in the door and forces his way in. First, he's like, I'm only here to talk. Like, I just want to talk to you. He's trying to get Diana to go to the DA and drop the charges because he got kicked out of medical school. So he's like, I don't like I'm not here to hurt you. Like, I just want to talk to you. I just need you to drop the charges because I can't go to school. Like, my life is ruined. Diana's in full panic mode. He's talking to her and she's literally scanning her room trying to find her exit method. She is not listening to a single thing this man is saying, okay? So she ends up seeing her phone like on the coffee table, so she like dashes for the phone and she gets the phone, and then Percy slaps it out of her hand immediately. So that's shut down. That doesn't stop her. She's like, okay, fuck the phone. She turns and she tries to run for the front door to just leave the apartment, but Percy ends up grabbing her. Diana starts to scream and stomp for the downstairs neighbor. I didn't mention this either because again, it was just a running gag that like wasn't that important, but there's a downstairs neighbor named Neil, and he was constantly complaining throughout the book about the walls being super thin and being able to hear everything from Diana, like her conversations, her walking, like just constantly making noise complaints about Diana making too much noise. And so she's like, if I stomp and scream, he's going to hear me because he's literally been complaining about me making noise the entire book. So she starts stomping and she's calling his name. She's telling him like, Percy is up here, like call the police, like he's up here. And after that, this triggers Percy. He gets really upset. In his mind, he's like, I'm just here to talk to her. I'm trying to work this out civilly, and she's fighting and causing a ruckus and making me look like this bad guy that I'm not. What? And in that moment, he completely becomes a different person again, just like the last time. And he just starts completely wailing on her. Like kicking, punching, anywhere that he can physically reach, wailing on this woman. Mind you, he's doing all of this while still insisting that the initial hit was nothing but an accident and she ruined his life. Okay, he's actively beating her, kicking her, all of this stuff. And he's like, it was an accident. Like, you're ruining my life over an accident? I just wanted to talk to you. As he's beating her. Sir, what? You're disgusting. The last thing that Diana remembers before passing out is a kick to the side of her head, and then she's out cold. Shane, obviously, is home. He's back home with his family. Shane and Diana had agreed to do like a long distance relationship. So he's home with his mom, helping his mom like pack up the last of his dad's things, and they're just kind of talking and, healing. And in that moment, when he's talking to his mom, he decides, like, I think I'm gonna go back to school and back to Diana and back to my life. And his mom was like, basically like, yeah, you need to go. Like, you need to go live your life. He's like coming to that conclusion when he gets a call from one of their neighbors. He instantly knows that something's wrong. He does not really talk to this neighbor. He doesn't hang out with this neighbor. This neighbor has no reason to be calling him. He knows that it's because something bad has happened. And he's literally out the door making his way to his car before he even fully understands what's happening. Shane literally starts boohoo crying the moment that he walks into the hospital room and sees Diana. Like, he walks into the hospital room and honestly, he's crying before he even gets through the door. Like, he's gone through a lot recently. Diana's pretty bruised and bloody. Thankfully, nothing's broken, but she does have a bit of internal bleeding. Her kidney got pretty beat up, and she also has a concussion, unfortunately. Shane holds her hand the entire time she explains what happened from start to finish. He's honestly really emotional, which, like I said, he was just here at this hospital for his dad. He just lost his dad. The man probably was thinking that he could possibly lose his girlfriend. He's just been through a lot. All right, so he's crying the entire time she's telling the story. And of course, he also feels slightly responsible. You know, he chose to leave her. In his mind, he's like, I chose to leave her when she was going through something like this. I wasn't there for her. Like, I should have been next door or hell in her bed, and I wasn't there for her. But of course, like, Diana reassures him that he was exactly where he felt he needed to be, and that's the end of that discussion. A few days later, Shane makes his return to the team, and he's having a conversation with one of his teammates, or I think his coach, about like the whole situation, because they ended up asking him like, oh, how's Diana, how's your girl doing, because they obviously know what happened. And we later find out that Percy was let out. He was caught. I think he was caught like trying to leave the building because Neil called the police. But he was caught, and then he was later let out on bail and is currently on house arrest at his parents' place, like a couple states over. And just like that, the book pretty much wraps up with Shane going to visit and eager to leave Diana in the hospital, and her trying to convince him to engage in freaky activities right there in the hospital bed. And that's the Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. Now that we've finished the entire book, I want to get into some things that I liked about this book and some things that I think that could have been done better. Obviously, nothing is perfect and everything can be done better. So we'll start off with the likes. I really like that there was a wide range of emotions, in my opinion. Like I said, there was good banter, the romance was good, I was kicking my feet, twirling my hair, I was giggling, the spicy moments were really well done. Really well done. But there was some heartache, like when the whole thing was happening with Shane's dad. I literally wanted to cry. Like, I actually had to take a break because I felt like I was going to cry. I was laughing, I was sad, I was angry, I was literally all over the place with my emotions. I really enjoyed that Elle Kennedy was able to pull all of that out of me. I also like that there was no third act breakup. I feel like sometimes a third act breakup is important, but there's also a lot of the times where it's like kind of random and they just throw that in there for like the drama, and I like that that was not done, so I can appreciate that. And overall, like I said, this was just a kick your feet, pull your hair, a really good read that had more to it. It was very well rounded, in my opinion. Now to get into the dislikes, I really did enjoy this book, but there are quite a bit of dislikes on this list. But I did enjoy this book, I promise. There's just a lot of dislikes. So, first and foremost, the whole ignore him plot that they had going on, where Diana was getting the entire complex to ignore him and like turn against him. I said this in the beginning, that was so pointless. I thought, because it was made to out to be such a big deal, that I thought it was gonna be like a big thing. Like, I thought it was gonna be the reason that there was like a third act breakup, because it was made out to be such a big deal, but then it was solved by like chapter 13. So I'm like, why did we add this in here? Like, it was so, and then granted, it wasn't even like a huge thing, even though it was solved by chapter 13. It literally was mentioned like twice. And then chapter 13, it was solved. I'm like, that was so, it's so juvenile. Like, it's so high school, middle school. Like, it was just very pointless. I was like, why do we, I don't, anyway. There should have been a scene, in my opinion, where Percy was getting like jumped or beat up. I'm so sorry. I don't condone violence. I really try not to. But you got a book full of hockey players, a high contact sport, a very physical sport, and he's not getting jumped. And even if he's not getting jumped, you don't have one scene, you don't have one scene where Shane is knocking him on his ass. No. No, 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 no. And it doesn't help, and that goes into my next dislike. It doesn't help that there's no punishment for Percy. Like, yes, he gets arrested, and yes, he gets on bail, and yes, he gets kicked out of his program for medical school. But we, as the reader, we don't see the consequences. We don't see him going to jail for getting sentenced. We don't see none of that. All we know is that, oh, he's on house arrest or whatever, and that's all we know, awaiting trial. I just feel like that should have been better wrapped up, because we literally just witnessed her get so badly beat by this man. Can you give us something? Like, can you get Shane and his buddies to get the hockey sticks out and beat the bricks off of him or something? Give me something. Like, give me something, you know? Which, again, tying into that, there was an epilogue, and I feel like we wasted it a little bit. Okay, the epilogue was basically, so throughout the book, there's a running gag of Shane trying to get into the community group chat, and Diana, in the beginning, when she kind of hated him still, she kept getting him kicked out of the community group chat. And so the epilogue is basically just him getting added to the group chat, him getting removed from the group chat. Like, it was a running gag, and that's really the epilogue. But I feel like, why did we not just make the epilogue like Percy getting sentenced, Diana going to his trial, Diana testifying, something to do with that? Because again, we never got a clean wrap up on his punishments. Like, you wasted the epilogue. And I know some people like can't stand epilogues. I love epilogues because I love to see where the characters go after the book finishes. And I feel like you should have used the epilogue to tie up the Percy situation a little bit better, but you used it for a gag, which is fine. But like, you should have at least tied up the Percy situation somehow, some way, somewhere, is how I feel. Also, I feel like we should have dived a little bit deeper into the mental health aspect of this, of the whole that domestic violence situation, because they did bring it up a couple times, but I feel like they didn't really, like, they brought it up and then it was like never really a thing again. When they brought it up, like, they didn't really show us that many moments of Diana feeling the effects of that, but I just feel like it was unrealistic. So I wish we would have had a little bit better representation for that. And then last but not least, there wasn't really much talk of cheerleading or hockey, which is why when I first talked about this book in part one, I didn't introduce it as a hockey romance or like a sports romance. I see some people saying that online, and I'm like, yeah, technically it is because they're both athletes, but there's like no mention, barely any, barely. It's there, but not really, of cheerleading or hockey. I don't know. Again, I'm not really that upset about that because I don't really know much about cheerleading or hockey, so like, I'm not that mad about that, but I also feel like, why make it a hockey romance or a cheer romance just to completely drop that out of the plot? You know, like, now you're just doing shit. Like, it's just there just cuz at that point. You know, like, it's like, what's the point of it being there if you're not gonna like make it a thing? You know, I don't know. You know, I feel like if we're gonna make it a part of the plot, use it. But anyway, you guys, I really enjoyed filming this video. I was really, really freaking nervous about it. The script was actually done like weeks and weeks ago, and I just did not film it because I was so nervous that it wasn't going to come out good. But I think I did it justice. I'm very happy with that. Like I said, I know I've said this a lot, but I really want to do more of these, and I want to continue to grow. So please let me know if you have any recommendations or criticism for anything that I could do better. I hope that you enjoyed this. I want to do another one of these, and I'm thinking, should we do another like romance book, or should we do like a murder mystery? Do we want a murder mystery next, or do we want another romance? Let me know. Anyway, you guys, that is a wrap on The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. I love you guys very, very much, and I will see all of you in my next one. Bye!